What do you know? Hi guys, I am back and this is my first come with me video for the year. Let's get all this out of the way real quick. Man, I am pissed because this is the first, actually this is the second horror release. I have seen Underwater, I saw it a couple of days ago. If you follow me on Instagram, you know how I feel about that film, but I'll probably do a monthly favorites slash films I watched in January, so don't worry, I will cover that. Obviously, in Australia, we are having an awful time trying to get films released here, especially horror movies released on time. We don't get to see The Turning till March. We don't get to see Gretel and Hansel maybe ever. There's no release dates. So it's gonna be a real hard ride for me this year. And I love doing my Come With Me videos. If you haven't seen a video like this before and you're new to the channel, hi. In this series, I take you along to the cinema with me. We go get popcorn, we go watch the movie, and I let you guys know exactly what I thought about it, my initial reaction. Usually I go into films without knowing anything. I think that's the best way, and I don't look at any reviews or anything like that until afterwards. So I give you my raw reaction that's just my own opinion. So because I am having so much issues seeing films at the cinema this year on time, I'm gonna have to bring you guys some more lists, some more recommendations, and some more things you can watch now, some more VOD recommendations. And it seems like most of you guys really like those kind of suggestions, so if you're not subscribed, please do, because there's a whole lot coming. One thing I am excited to say, I can't announce exactly what's happening yet, but if you live in Perth, Australia, and you would like to see a movie that may be my most anticipated movie of the year, maybe I've said too much, with me early, just go follow me on Instagram. It's just Spookyastronauts. I swear this isn't a weird ploy. I just need to be able to contact you when things go down. I will leave that for another time, but let's jump into The Grudge. Wow, this film came out at the start of January, I believe, in America, and obviously it's just coming out here now. I have heard, or I've seen kind of people reacting about how bad it is, just headlines. I haven't gone into depth about it. The director of this film did The Eyes of My Mother, which everyone loved that film. That film was a great horror movie. If you like foreign film, definitely check that one out. And he also did Piercing, which I watched last year. I did a Come With Me video for, and I wasn't a big fan of that one. So I have a feeling I'm not gonna like this one. A lot of people have said it's just so horrible. So I was curious if you guys even wanted me to go see this, but I asked you on both my community tab on YouTube and on Instagram, and it looks like anything over like 80% I'm gonna do, so let's do it. I'm a little bit worried. If you guys know, I fell asleep during the last Annabelle film, so I'm gonna make sure I grab a coffee because I have heard negative things, but I'm not too sure what is negative in the film, but if I could fall asleep in it, might be an issue. But the best way to figure it out is just to go make up my own mind. Let's go see the new Grudge film. Romy, I wish you could come with me, but you're a little bit too big. You're too big for the cinema. So weird, now I get these notifications telling me that I can check in to the cinema before I get there, so I can just go straight into the actual theatre instead of getting my ticket. I don't trust them. What do you guys think about this kind of technology? It's weird for a movie theatre, right? Hey, that's a good sign. That being here is a good sign. Not often I can do this when no one else is here. But thank God for caffeine, because that felt like a really long ass movie. Okay, let's go to the car. Jump scare for ya! Wow! You guys are not playing around. That movie, yeah, it was different to what I thought it was gonna be like. To be honest, I thought it was just gonna be like a shit show from the start, and it wasn't like that at all for me. So the movie, I guess I didn't even explain at the start what the movie is, and sometimes I don't go into this, especially when it's a remake. It's like a third remake. The first two Grudge movies are by Takashi Shimizu. I guess those are the official movies, but there are 3 other Grudges that are Japanese. And then there's obviously the American remake that had Sarah Michelle Gellar in it. And now this is another remake. So I find it very interesting that a movie needs to be remade about these ghosts, but it's completely different. So it has the idea of an imprint. And this movie is particularly about someone who came back from Japan and spread the imprint curse. So an imprint curse in Asian mythology, or a Ju-on, is like, you know, the Grudge holding a vengeful spirit or a vengeful event that happened in a certain area, and it leaves an imprint that goes on. Before we get into the hits and misses of this film, I do really want to recommend 3 movies that you may not have seen, you may heard of, but just give you a push to watch the right kind of imprint movies, because obviously I don't think this film does it very well. Miike Takashi, or Takashi Miike, does a really good Masters of Horror, which, if you don't know, Masters of Horror is like a TV series. Really, it's just a collection of short films by different horror directors, and they really put all of their soul into these lower budget kind of films. And there's a really good one called Imprint that I would really recommend to you guys. There's also Phobia, which is a Thai film where a lot of people have not spoken about this film. I absolutely love it. It's very authentic, and very big fan of that one. And that one's more of an anthology. And then the last one, which you probably have heard of, is Shudder, and that's a Thai film. But the original has a more intense kind of ending. I'm trying not to give away too much, but it's very much about imprints. And I really recommend those films if you're looking for something that The Grudge should have done, or that you liked the original Ju-on for. Those are the kind of films that you want to check out. So the issue with this film is it's all over the place, obviously. I thought that the issue was going to be the jump scares, which the jump scares in this film are trash. But I think that the main problem is how many different characters it tried to introduce, and it really tried to take the main detective, who I guess was the main character of this film. It was really hard to kind of see where she was meant to fit in. She was played by Andrea Riseborough, who was Nancy and Mandy. She's a great actress. I'm gonna give it to her. I really liked her in this role, but I felt like they were really trying to reach for some Rachel the Ring remake vibes, with her character being a strong, independent female who is also a mother, and her balancing her job with being a mother. Obviously Rachel is Naomi Watts, but she's also one of the best characters, I think, in a horror movie, because she is complicated and complex and real. And in this movie it kind of felt short, because I felt for poor Andrea because she wasn't given the enough space or flow in the film, because the film is cut up into different sections so poorly. The main issue of the film, in my opinion, is the fact that it's trying to reveal to you something that we already know. As I said before, the film is about imprints. You just watch the first 5 seconds, or you know about any other Grudge film, you know what's going to happen in this film. The film is trying to explain to you something that you already know for an hour and a half. So there's no twists, there's no turns, it's just straight bang. This is the idea behind the film, and let me explain it to you over and over and over. In fact, let's throw in some flashbacks, some rewinds, some fast forwards. Let's play that again. Did you get that? It just seemed so repetitive and really dumbed down the audience, and it packed so much into such a simple story, trying to make it complex instead of giving this woman enough time to flesh out her character and for you to actually get into one character so you get scared. It was all about the jump scare, and that's totally fine. If that's what they set out to do, that's totally fine. But, you know, Lynn Shay, someone get her some milk.
He needs some milk!
That's literally what I was thinking the whole time, because she was just in there for the scare factor, and yeah, I'm kind of over it, to be honest. The fact that it started and there was a jump scare in the first 1 minute, it didn't bother me. I think that these films are made for a reason. It's made for a certain demographic that is into jump scares, and that's totally fine. But don't try and pack in some complex, twisty story when there is none. The film was riddled with horror movie tropes. It was almost painful sometimes. Like, so painful that you're just going through the motions and the same shit keeps... Oh my god. Am I bleeding? The same shit just keeps happening over and over. There's these scary girls that are coming out of the bath. All of a sudden, the guy has the hands in his shower on the back of his head. It was just over and over the same. Oh my god, what is happening? The same thing. over and over. Creepy girls with their nose bleeding, who cares? To be honest, my expectations for the film were really low going in anyway. So I did find some good things I liked in the film. I liked the titles, I thought the font was great. As I said, I like Andrea, I think that she's great, and I really like the horror movies she has been in. I felt bad for her in this one because I don't think it was her acting that was the issue. I really do think it was the story built around it, or lack of. And the last thing I actually liked was the surround sound. I felt like they did really good with that. I went to the movies and I was in there alone, and this is ridiculous, sorry guys. And mind you, it was opening night, so that's kind of sad. But I have to say, I was pretty scared being in there by myself just because of the jump scare factor. I'm not scared that, you know, she's actually going to crawl out and get me. I'm more scared because I know the jump scares are coming and I know that anticipation feeling, and I'm going to jump. And I did. Especially when they did the whole peekaboo situation, I freaked out. But the surround sound I thought was really cool with the flies. They felt like they were buzzing around you, and because I knew no one else was in the cinema, I could really pay attention to those sounds and know that they weren't coming from anywhere else. And there was a couple of times I was like shifty. But other than that, I can understand where everyone else is coming from with this film. I don't think it's the worst thing I've ever seen. I've seen some pretty bad movies over the last year, but I do think it was quite boring, and when it's selling you the same idea over and over and over until the end, I just don't know why they made it so complicated unless they were going to tie something else in, and I just don't know why they redid it. I hate saying that because remakes, you don't have to watch it if you don't want to, and I know I went in knowing that this film was going to be bad, but I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt, and unfortunately it just didn't work for me. But that's totally fine. If you're into jump scares, this film might be for you. It's just not for me. Okay, I'm gonna give this one a 4 out of 10, I think. I think that's like kind of where it deserves. I don't think it was the worst film ever. I just don't think it really needed to be done. It wasn't justified. And Lynn Shane should know better. She should know better by now. In fact, we all should. I love you guys so much. Thanks for putting up with me. Let me know down in the comments if you've seen any of the movies I recommended. That's Shutter, that's the original Shutter, Phobia, and Imprint. And let me know what you thought of them. Those are much better Asian ghost movies, in my opinion. And I'll talk to you guys very soon. Stay spooky. Bye. Just tastes gross.